My name is Alex Tremble, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm extremely excited to share some really great knowledge with you. And you can tell that I'm really serious about it because of how fancy I'm dressed. And I'll tell you a little about this in a little bit. But today specifically, I want to focus on teaching you how to influence. Specifically, actually, teaching you how to influence through your presentations. See, I have met a lot of very senior level and people who want to become senior level government leaders and realize that their communication, their presentation style is not where it needs to be one of the most successful presenters and one of the most influential presenters within their organization. So today I want to share with you 6 key strategies that you can use to increase your influence during your presentations. But before we get started, I do want to explain, yes, I am wearing a little bit of a suit today. I am wearing my my nice red tie today, and this is because I just came back from interviewing a former political appointee within the Obama administration. I'm excited. So next year, 2020, I'm starting a new segment of this channel. This segment of my YouTube page is going to be focused on interviewing current and former senior level leaders within the government organization, whether that be state, local, congressional. I really want to provide you with the best knowledge, the best experience in the stories of very influential people so you can gain and learn from that information. And actually, the reality is these people, through these videos, will be able to mentor you. You'll be able to learn from some of the most successful and influential government leaders that we have in this country. And hopefully moving forward, I'll find some people who are outside of this country as well. And so that's why I'm dressed nice. I just got back from DC and doing that interview, and I'm extremely excited to share that with you guys next year. But today what we're focused on is influence and influence via presentation. So before we get started, I'm going to ask, as I always do, please click that like button, click the subscribe button, and please, if you enjoyed this video and you find it to be helpful, please share it. These videos, they're meant to help as many people as possible, but the reality is unless you share and click the like button, these videos will not be able to be seen by others, and they won't be able to help as many people as we're hoping to help. So again, thank you so much for doing that, and let's get started. So the first strategy I want to give you is increase your volume. See, the reality is most of us, when we get on the stage, we start talking, but as we become more comfortable, as we become more accustomed to that particular situation, we then start to reduce our volume. And it's a normal thing. Most of us actually do this. And so a trick that I learned years ago was take advantage of it. Start your presentation off with a higher volume, so even when you do go lower, you're still able to be heard. So, I mean, I'll do right now. So when I start a presentation, I normally say something like, "Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing?" And from there, because I started at a high point, one, I gain the attention of everyone in the room immediately, but two, I'm setting myself up so if my volume does decrease, I'm still speaking at a tone, at a pitch that everyone in the room can hear me. So that's the first strategy. Increase your volume at the beginning of your presentation. The second strategy is to start your presentation with an interesting fact. See, the reality of the situation is that it's extremely easy to lose the audience's attention, especially nowadays. People have such short attention spans. So what we want to do is we want to get them engaged really quickly, get them wanting to hear what we have to say. And one way we can do that is by sharing an interesting fact that most people won't know right at the beginning. So to say, hey, did you know that 50% of monkeys don't like bananas? Now, I'll let you right now, I don't know if that's true or not. But the reality is, some of you right now said, I didn't know that. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for an interesting fact about the presentation you're going to be giving that most people won't know. Because again, you want them thinking, you want them intrigued, and you want them to, as the book is called, lean in. So that's the second strategy. The third strategy is something that I know that you've heard before, which is make eye contact. But how do you make eye contact with everyone in the room? A very simple strategy you can use to do that is to divide the room into 3 quadrants. Left, right, middle. If you find an individual which in each one of those quadrants, and you consistently make eye contact with those people throughout your presentation, everyone will think that you're looking their way, and you will be, in reality, making eye contact. You'll be making that connection with the audience, that eye contact, which again draws their attention towards you and draws their attention to the content that you're sharing for them. So, is there more than that? Of course there is. The fourth is practice your confidence. Now, what do I mean by this? This one is critical. Practice your confidence. Think about this right now. If you walked into a room, into a presentation, and the person stood up in the front of the stage and said, "So, I've done some research, and we actually found out the sky is not blue, but rather green." Yes, it's very surprising, but I'm going to share with you right now why this is the case. Now, all of us with our own eyes see the sky is blue, but because this person is standing on a stage, because this person is confident, we are more likely to, 1, believe that person, but 2, even if we don't believe them, we're willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. We are willing to open ourselves up to be convinced. Now, on the other side, let's say someone walked up to the stage and said, so today I want to talk to everyone by, I think that the sky is blue, and you are immediately going to lose trust in what that person's saying because they're not confident in themselves. And see, I share this with a lot of the courses I teach, and the people in the courses I teach, is that that's one of the easiest things you can do to influence people, is to be confident. Again, if you're giving a presentation on something that is near and dear to you, something that is important to you, you're sharing things about yourself, that's the easiest type of presentation, right? Because the information you're sharing is obviously factual. You are sharing it's about yourself. Very easy to share and know it's factual. So there's no reason that you should be not confident with yourself, because the information, no one can question how you feel about something. So you should feel confident walking on that stage. I would also share a really quick story actually about the first time I gave a presentation to a room of senior level leaders. I did this when I was 23 years old. I got that presentation ready. I spent weeks preparing it on how to share what leadership is like, the different methods, the different styles of leadership. And look, I'm telling you, I was in graduate school at the time when I gave this presentation to this federal organization, and I put all my references in it. I had my quotes, I had all the citations. I was ready for it. And I remember showing that presentation to the executives that I worked for at that particular time, and they immediately looked at me and said, "Take all those references out." I said, "What?" Yeah. Take the references out. Take the citations out. That's not important. And then look, again, being a graduate student at that time, everything we are told is about having citations, right? And I'm like, whoa, is that something I can do? Are you sure? Are they going to trust me if I don't have these citations? right then, I learned something that I have kept with me for the rest of my life. The executive I spoke to said, you're going to be on the stage. You're going to be talking about it. There's a very strong likelihood that you know more about this topic than anyone else in the room, because you've been doing this. So you know more about this than almost everyone in the room. They're going to trust what you say. And let me tell you, when I walked in that room and I gave that presentation to all these senior level leaders, again, I was 23. Most of the people in that room were at least 50 plus. Not one person questioned my credentials. Not one person questioned what I shared. I actually had people coming up to me asking me for advice. And it's all because I was confident as I presented my presentation and my information. So that's, again, another critical one. You have to be confident. And again, you can do this by practicing your speech in a mirror. Again, I'm going a little off tangent right now because I want to share something special with you really quickly. This book I read called The Power of Presence. I actually have it down in the description below. I love this book because when I read it, it taught me this skill that I've used now moving forward. What the author said was, when you're getting ready for a presentation, you need to decide what emotion do you want your crowd to have. Again, this is being very strategic. And if you're watching this channel, you know everything I teach, everything I talk about, everything I promote is about being intentional and strategic. So this is a gift for you right now. This is something that most people don't know, okay? So the first thing you do when you have a presentation coming up, you need to understand, what emotion do you want your crowd to have? Do you want your crowd to be upset, sad? Do you want them to be mad? Do you want them to be concerned? And so on. Do you want them to be happy and excited? See, based off of what emotion you want your crowd to have, that is going to determine what emotions you need to be feeling and projecting as you give your presentation. I'll give you an example really quickly. So if you want someone to be thoughtful about a situation, maybe you drop your volume down a little bit and slow down and take your time getting certain pieces of information out. But on the other hand, if you want them to be excited, maybe you speed it up a little bit, and you raise your volume and you show some smiles and you're bringing everyone with you. But you know what? What if you want them to feel disgust? What if you need them to say, you know what, this data is what's going on right now is unprecedented. What's going on right now is unnecessary. We have people who are dying and being hurt. But see, you won't know how to present the information most efficiently and effectively unless you understand what emotion you want your audience to have. Now again, I know I went off into a tangent really quickly, but I really wanted to share that information with you. Again, this is a nugget that I hope you take with you moving forward. And again, the book I'm going to reference below, it will definitely help you in that respect. So, the fifth strategy that you can use to be more influential in your presentation, in your speaking, is to realize that there are really three types of communication. There's the verbal. There's what I'm saying to you right now, your verbal. There is your nonverbal, right? The smiles. If I'm patting my hand when I'm speaking, people understand I'm communicating a certain thing. So there's your verbal, there's your nonverbal, and then there's your contextual. See, some of you may be asking, what is contextual? See, the contextual is your surroundings. How is everything set up around you? See, some of the most influential communicators, influential leaders know how to position their context. They know how to position the things around them to help them communicate a particular idea. I'll share a story with you really quickly. One of my former leaders that I worked with, very influential. He had a traditional, I guess I call it a tradition, but maybe it was much more than that. Whenever there was an important meeting that he needed to be at, and he wanted to influence and he wanted to communicate and make sure people had a particular idea, he'd get to the meeting early. He'd find the chair that was in the center of wherever they were meeting, and that's where he would sit. He would sit in the middle every single time. Now, again, initially, I just thought maybe that was his thing. He just wanted to sit in the middle of the chair. It was just his thing. Until, again, I started growing and learning and read a book that helped me understand the primacy effect. See, what the primacy effect teaches us is that whatever is primary to us, whatever is first, top of mind, in front of us, we will pay more attention to. And because we pay more attention to it, we then assume in our mind that it must be more important. And because it's much more important in our mind, we then pay more attention to it. You see how that works, and it's so interesting. So what he was in effect doing was positioning himself in the room so that all eyes were always on him. So everything he said and did, everyone was paying attention to him. And because they paid attention to him, they then thought it must be important what he's saying because I'm paying attention to him. So then they paid attention more. And it allowed him to influence and make sure his voice was heard regardless of whatever else was going on in the room. And finally, the sixth strategy that you can use to increase your influencing is to have your own ending. See, this is something I had to learn when I started my business giving speeches and talks. I, like many people, would normally give my entire presentation and then say, does anyone have any questions? And I would end on questions. Right? That's what most people do. But that's not what the most influential people do. See, you don't want your talk, your speech, your presentation to end on a random question that someone could have thrown out. You want your speech, your talk, your presentation to end very intentionally, whatever thought you want them to have as they walk out the room. So what you need to do is when you're giving presentations, yes, you give your presentation, but you don't end on the questions. You always make sure you schedule your timing so that there are questions, you have some Q&A, but you know what? You always leave yourself 5 minutes, 3 minutes to say, thank you so much for your questions. And I want to share with you my final thoughts on this particular issue. And then you share those thoughts. Because again, you want them to have on their mind the specific ideas that are crucial to your argument. So now I just given you 6 very influential strategic strategies that you can use right now, today, to increase your influence. But I'm not going to just stop there. I want to go over and beyond. I want to always serve you the best I can. So I want to give you a 7th. And that 7th is, don't apologize. See, this is something that I learned when I was in college. See, when I was in college, I worked in the drama team. We had plays, right? And we put on plays all the time. And we understood what the script was. We understood what lights were supposed to go on, what times and what sounds and so on and so forth. We knew what was supposed to happen. So when we put on a play, when something went wrong, we all noticed it. We all knew it went wrong. But I realized later on, the audience doesn't. The audience doesn't catch all those little mistakes that we have. They don't know how it's supposed to be. They just know what it was when you shared it. So what I learned when giving presentations and giving talks is, if you mess up, don't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I messed up. Let me start again. No. If you say something, if you cough, keep it moving. Don't apologize. Don't say anything. Keep it moving, because by saying something about it, you're actually drawing attention to it, and now you get them focused on your cough versus on what you were going to say a second ago. By you talking about that mistake, you draw attention to it, which now draws their mind to that, and they can't benefit from the rest of the talk and the rest of the presentation you were just about to say. Man, I really hope you found value in what I shared today. And if you did, I'm going to again ask you that you please click that subscribe button and click the share button. And if you have questions about anything I shared, or if you actually question or you believe that what I'm saying is wrong, look, comment below. I'd love to talk about this. But you know what? There is one thing I always want to make sure I say to you. Regardless of whatever happens, I just want you to know that you got to stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving.